Hey, what's up guys? It's Vel and I am back with a new video to show you guys my absolute Giga Chad Hollow Palm Sunder Slayer. I ended up making this build originally as Ground Slam Hollow Palm back when they came out with the small cluster one with nothing. But now with the new Trans Sunder of Earthbreaking, I'm absolutely saying goodbye to Ground Slam and hello to our new hotness, Sunder. I'm gonna jump straight into the pros and cons. So number one, it has screen long range, which makes doing those hallways in T17s, especially with those stupid ball lightning guys, so much safer, so comfortable. I love it. Second, if you know my builds, it's 3-button gameplay. I love my 3 buttons. It's really cozy. Big plus for me. It is also league start and uber viable. Now let me hit you with a couple cons. It does have gear constraints and chaos and degens are kind of scary. Offensively, this is a dexterity stacking build, so the more dexterity you get, the better your damage is going to be. It is also a 100% fizz build, and it uses Impale as well. For the defense, dexterity actually also happens to be life. So the more dexterity, again, yay, more life, it's great. It is fort, suppress capped, it is ailment, bleed, and impale immune, and you have overleech. So there is something that makes this build special, and that is a small cluster jewel called One with Nothing. This allows us to count as dual wield while we're unencumbered. We get 40% more attack damage with melee skills while unencumbered, and we gain 14 to 20 flat attack physical damage to melee skills per 10 dexterity while unencumbered. So what's the catch? It's unencumbered. It means you cannot wear any weapon, any offhand, or any gloves. I also want to touch on Sunder of Earthbreaking because that is a nice big change for this build. The normal Sunder has a line in it saying using the skill again will stop the previous wave, and with Hollow Palm's attack speed, that doesn't really feel very good. You attack way too fast. But this bad boy, however, allows you to attack again and not end the current wave. So it just travels to the end of your screen. It just keeps going and going till you can't see it anymore. Until you get the Sunder of Earthbreaking, though, I would stick with Ground Slam. It's not really worth to switch to normal Sunder, as I just said, and Ground Slam has a really great Vol version. You can use it like at level 1, so it's really good. The tree here is pretty simple. We're pathing to get as much dexterity as we can while going for life, impale, damage nodes, and jewel sockets. If you're looking to start this build and you already have the Hollow Palm cluster, you can just path down here right away and slot that in and level with it as early as level 14. We do take a couple keystones. We have Precise Technique, which is 40% more attack damage if your accuracy is higher than life. A nice thing about having all of this gear constraint is that usually we don't have to worry about our life being higher than our accuracy for a while. So it's pretty nice to get. And Mage Bane, where your dexterity provides no inherent bonus to evasion. However, you get a 1% chance to suppress spell damage per 15 dex. This is pretty much a no-brainer for us. We stack dexterity. It makes total sense. And paired with Ancestral Vision, we get easy ailment immunity. For the Ascendancies, we start out with Masterful Form. This makes your endurance charges equal to your maximum frenzy charges. It also gives you a max frenzy charge, and since we use Blood Rage to generate frenzy charges, we pretty much have them the entire time. For the times that we don't have endurance charges, though, I also do use an enduring composure for backup. Now, on the rare occasion with these new bigger life rolls on gear early on, you might have more life than accuracy, so you may have to take impact first, but if that's not a problem for you, go masterful form first and foremost. Your second choice is going to be brutal fervor. This is a big one. We get our overleech from this, we get reduced damage while leeching, and we get max recovery of leech. After that, we're absolutely going to go for our endless hunger. This gives us stun immunity. We become bleed immune. But remember, we're still not corrupted blood immune, so you're gonna have to find that somewhere else. And you get huge attack speed and overkill damage leeches life. So it's a fat ascend. And last but not least, Vein of Legends. This is our reflect immunity, so you can do both reflect maps, is 20% more damage with hits and ailments against unique enemies, great for bosses, and for clear 10% more damage if you've killed recently. That's pretty good to me. Now on to the fun parts, the gear. So there's only a couple things I'm really going to touch on here and why they're important and why they aren't. So I'm going to start with, again, no weapons, no gloves. Can't have them, can't wear them, forget you ever knew them with this build. The helmet, though. Getting a fractured dexterity base is a great idea. I have just experimented with level 30 aspect of the crab and flesh and stone, and I love it compared to determination. So basically you want to make sure you have a spot to get in aspect of the crab, and you pretty much only have 3 spots for it. So your helmet is where it's going to be. You definitely would like some mana reservation and reduced cost of attacks, but it doesn't actually have to be insanely high. I went higher than I needed to on this helmet. And life and res, whatever you can there. The brisk wrap is pretty much our best in slot chest piece. It gives us everything we want to have. It is something you can wear at a pretty early level, and it's a great double corrupt target. Mine has +2 AoE, and I'm pretty sure, unlinked, no socket, really, it was like 20C. But for this particular chest piece, you actually would prefer it to be corrupted because the colors you need on it are 5 red, 1 green, and this is a dexterity-based chest piece, so it doesn't like anything but green unless it's corrupted and you use tainted chromatics. Tainted chromatics do not care about your attributes, so it just rolls, and it's actually pretty easy to get that way. If you decide to go the uncorrupted route, then you definitely want to use the bench crafting method to get your reds. Garrokins, these are pretty important because this is where you get your life per dexterity. So it's actually more than pretty important, it's actually huge. It's huge. You want to make sure you get your hands on these. Also a good corrupt target, generally pretty cheap. Ascendancy is pretty much your best amulet. However, in this league, you have the chance to go for the mirror slams, and I was able to get myself something with a hell of a lot more dexterity and attributes. It is not necessary, it was just super awesome to have, so I did that. However, overall, Ascendancy carried me. I was wearing it in Ubers, it was good. For the rings, this is where you're going to try to get, again, more dexterity, life, and as much res as you can. One of these rings does have Vuln on hit. I personally got a synth-based ring and did my Vuln on hit that way. You can also do it with Warlord, or you can do it with Delve. Either way, you can get Vuln on hit. You just need to make sure you also get good resist and ideally dexterity and life with it as well. For your beginner belts, and honestly a belt that you can pretty much rock the entire time, Cyclopean Coil is a fantastic choice. It's very cheap. You can catalyst it up to 18% of increased attributes, plus it can be double corrupted. On top of that, if you want to go the extra mile because you need more res, you could potentially go with one of these. I made this earlier in the league, which is 18% dexterity. I used dexterity essences to roll basically what I had. And then if you want to go even further for no particular reason other than to waste money, you can go with a Stygian. Well, I mean, it gives you an eyeball to put in, and that's always good for more stat and resist and so on and so forth. But it is a lot harder to roll than just getting yourself a synth belt. For sure. For sure. This cost me way more than this cost me, and I'm pretty sure I'm like 4 dexterity short comparatively on the two. However, I was able to get myself more res, more life, more chaos res, which was really important to me, so that's what I ended up doing. The only thing I will say about the flasks is this lion's meow. I kind of hate it because it does knockback, but it's really good damage. However, it's entirely up to you. If you don't mind the knockback, go for it. The damage is good. If you hate it, don't do it. Just put in a regular granite, move on. The ever important one with nothing, which I discussed earlier. This gives you your hollow palm. The ancestral vision for our ailment immunity. The small cluster gives the enduring composure, as I said before, so you have endurance charges regardless of if you have frenzy charges. The large cluster is no-brainer for us. The only thing we actually care about on our Watcher's Eye is the impales you inflict last 2 additional hits. The Flesh and Flame. Now, any other league, this has not been expensive. It is Master of Metal. However, since it's the melee league, people love Master of Metal. This is the impale node. So this is probably the most expensive item in the entire build. However, it is not necessary for Ubers, but it does feel good to have. So, you know, if you want it, you want it if you can have it. And last but not least, the Brutal Restraint. I want to talk about the Brutal Restraint really quickly. So the only thing you actually care about on the Brutal Restraint is dexterity, percent, and flat dexterity. Anything you get on there, anything else is a bonus. So I don't know if any of you guys use the Timeless Jewel Finder in POB, but if you do that, pick Brutal Restraint. Make sure it's at the duelist area. Filter nodes, so it's only the nodes that you click on. And then search for dexterity. Put in, I want a minimum of 2% dexterity, so I put in 2. And then I want a minimum of 1 of the others. And if I search, it shows that I can get this. You can just copy the trade, go there. So essentially, as much flat, as much percent as possible. The best it looks like you can get is about 15% and 40 flat dexterity. There are also a couple other cool things you can get on there as well, like movement, speed, and life, but again, dexterity is the number one thing you want. Well, I think that's the real meat of the character, and I hope it entices some of you guys to check it out. I absolutely love the character. Back in the day, my boy used to be outshined heavily by my other hollow palmer, but now he's better. He's beyond. He's the star of. He's amazing. You want to play a melee build? You don't want to have to worry about weapons. This is the build for you. 100%. I hope you love it as much as I do. Definitely be sure to check me out on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Valina. I am live 6 days a week. See you guys there. Bye, guys.